morning, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Luke Adams. In the headlines tonight, a man is jailed for life after killing another man in a revenge attack in Hull. A woman suffers life-changing facial injuries following an assault in Driffield, and tackling antisocial behaviour in Cottingham. And later in tonight's programme, I'll be talking to Anne Winslow on surviving the school holiday stresses. Before that, Charlotte Bowen on the Wonderful World Festival. But first tonight, a Hull man who murdered a fellow hostel resident in a revenge attack has been jailed for life. 64-year-old Colin Cadamatraya stabbed 31-year-old Gerard Marsh following a confrontation at a property on Albert Avenue in Hull in January. Hull Crown Court heard how Cadamatraya killed Mr Marsh after he stole his benefits, money and beer. Cadamatraya must serve a minimum of 20 years in prison before he can be considered for release. A woman has suffered life-changing facial injuries after she was assaulted in Driffield. The victim was walking on Westgate in the early hours of Sunday morning when she was assaulted by a man and a woman. A 28-year-old man and an 18-year-old woman were arrested in connection with the incident. Northern Rail has reinstated most of its cancelled train services today. The train operator was forced to reduce the number of trains it ran earlier this year after a new timetable resulted in delays and cancellations. More than 160 services were scrapped per day last month to help relieve the chaos caused by the timetable's introduction in May. 75% of services have resumed today, with the remaining cancelled trains starting in September. Hull and East Yorkshire Hospital's NHS Foundation Trust says admissions to the A&E department at Hull One Infirmary peaked at more than 400 in the last 2 weeks as a result of the prolonged heat wave. Doctors and nurses have seen an increase in older people being admitted to hospital who are dehydrated. The trust is appealing to those with minor conditions to avoid using A&E and seek treatment elsewhere. The UK's first purpose-built marine observatory opened its doors in Lincolnshire today. The North Sea Observatory at Chapel St Leonard's will include information and exhibitions on the area's natural history, an art space and a gateway to the coastal country park. Lincolnshire County Council hopes the development will attract new visitors to the area and provide a significant boost to the economy. Councillor Colin Davey is the Executive Member for Economic Development at Lincolnshire County Council, and he says he's delighted with the project.
This is the first national marine observatory in the United Kingdom, and I'm very proud to say it's here at Chapel Point in Lincolnshire. This site and this building has been 10 years in the making in terms of a project. We are grateful to the Coastal Communities Fund and to the Arts Council and to Lincolnshire County Council for making it possible. The building will be opening imminently to the public, and we believe that this is going to change the dynamic of the coast. This represents the future and the future opportunity of Lincolnshire as a gateway to the coastal country park. We believe this is a flagship building, a dynamic, iconic design and fit for future generations.
Hull has received a cash injection to develop new homes and bring relinquished properties back into use. £4 million has been given to the local authority by the Humber Local Enterprise Partnership that will see 1,000 homes created and a further 100 properties reinstated. The scheme will also see a renewal programme which will provide frontage and energy efficiency improvements in key areas. The MP for Lincoln has launched a campaign for the Red Arrows to stay in Lincolnshire. Karen Lee has set up a petition which will be handed to the Defence Minister, Gavin Williamson. She also wants more information on why the Ministry of Defence has decided to sell RAF Scampton. Campaigners against the controversial toll bar roundabout proposals in Grimsby say more than 6,000 people are behind their campaign. The Toll Bar Roundabout Action Group handed in a petition to North East Lincolnshire Council last week over concerns that a new traffic light system will create excess traffic and be a danger to children of Toll Bar Academy. Senior councillors previously decided to go ahead with replacing the roundabout with traffic lights, but have now agreed to review the plans. A report is expected next month. A new campaign to tackle antisocial behaviour has launched in Cottingham. Operation Annibus aims to increase the visibility of police officers around the village and encourage younger people to think more about how their behaviour affects other residents in the village. Cottingham has been without a police station for several years, something Councillor Helen Green is amazed by.
Councillor McMedina and myself have been working with the police over the last few months because there was a huge spike in antisocial behaviour, and it was a great concern to us because we're a nice community here in Cottingham. And so after many discussions with the police have now launched this Operation Anubis, which they have run in other parts of the East Riding. They know they've run in Hessel. And it's meant to be raising the profile of the police within the village, more working with the youths or the people that are causing the antisocial behaviour rather than being heavy-handed. We've had a number of residents, elderly residents, on the phone, both to Councillor Medini and myself, regarding youths in the garden and being on bikes and terrorising children, young children as well. We think we should have a police station here in the village. We don't understand why we're such a big community and quite an elderly, vulnerable community, and we don't have a police station. We always did have a police station, but that was closed a couple of years ago, maybe even 4 years ago now. And that's what we really would like to see back in Cottingham, a police station. To have such a large community without any police presence in the village, to me, is amazing. I know the police have taken a lot of new recruits on, and there are going to be new police out on the beat. It would be very nice if Cottingham was included on that beat.
The East Riding Stop Smoking service has hit a record-breaking reduction in smoking across the region. The service, operated by Humber Teaching NHS Foundation Trust Health Trainer Team, has reduced smoking levels by 5% in 3 years. 10% of people smoke in the East Riding, which is one of the lowest rates in the Yorkshire and Humber region. The scheme is led by smoking practitioners who see clients on a one-to-one basis. 24 electric car charging points will be constructed in Hull. 18 will be used to power Hull City Council's electric car fleet, and 6 will be made available to the public. The local authority is introducing electric charging points to 8,000 homes. I'm joined now by Charlotte Bowen of the Culture House to tell me about the wonderful World Festival, which is taking place this month. Good evening, Charlotte. Welcome to the programme. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Next month it's taking place, August.
That's right, yeah.
July. What is the wonderful World Festival?
It is an event that takes place in People's Park, and it brings street arts and circus to Grimsby Town Centre. And the aim of it is to widen access to arts and culture for local people.
Does this event open up that wider remit of art?
I think it does. That's one of the missions of the Culture House, is to widen access to arts and culture. We don't get much touring work coming to the area. There's lots of festivals in other areas across the country, but local people here, because of our geographical location, and the fact that not everybody can travel out to see things as well, don't get to engage a lot with this kind of work. So it's a really good opportunity for them to see something a bit different, that's high quality, and just have a really enjoyable day out. Lots
of work involved with the festival, Charlotte, I would imagine. What are some of the highlights or the key things what are happening this year?
Well, we've got a range of performers. One of those is called Jolly Vian, who I saw at a festival in Yarmouth, and it's a really breathtaking dance piece. And I can't really describe it much other than saying people get thrown right into the air and caught again. I'm sure there's a lot more to it than that. But yeah, that's a really good spectacle to see. There's a performer called Dick Danger, who goes up on a pole and does lots of acrobatic type stuff. There is the Circus 250 caravan coming to the event. So this year is 250 years of circus. So there's a national initiative which is celebrating that, and a caravan is touring the country.
Okay.
And the public can go in the caravan and talk to a real live circus performer and find out about their life on the road and what's involved. So there's that real nice experience there to talk to somebody who works in that profession and find out what it's like.
Great, so something to suit everybody.
Yeah.
It sounds very theatrical and visual.
Yeah.
Charlotte, I believe you ran this event last year. How popular was it, and how many people on average turned up?
Yeah, last year it was really popular. It was part of the Grimsby 10K.
Okay.
And I think we saw about 5,000 people throughout the day. but the 10K, as you might have known, doubled in size this year, and it was amazing. I actually took part, which was great. I loved it, but it meant that it wasn't really feasible to host both events together because you'd have logistical challenges.
Absolutely.
So we separated them off again, and I think it'll be popular because people enjoyed the event in its own right. So yeah, it should be a popular day.
When and where is this taking place? Wonderful Wales. It's People's Park.
That's right, yes. So it's on Sunday, the 5th of August from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it's free as well because it's funded by Arts Council England and supported by North East Lincolnshire Council. And there's also workshops and a bit of live music as well.
Do you get good support from the Council and Arts Council England to put on events of this scale?
Yeah, I think Arts Council as a national funder are really keen to see more things happen in places like Grimsby where there's really low engagement in arts. So I think if the proposal is right, they're keen to support it where they can. And it is a competitive process, so they don't fund everything, but they're keen to put money into North East Links. And I think in recent years the Council has got much better at recognising the value of culture and how that can impact positively on communities, and do a lot for sort of community engagement and general sort of well-being as well. So I think they're ready now to support cultural activity.
Good that they've got your back in, and it sounds like it'll be a great event. All the best, Charlotte. I hope it goes well. Thank you very much indeed for coming in this Monday evening.
Thank you.
Join me after the break when Fred brings us all the latest sports news, and I'll be talking to Anne Winslow with tips on how to handle the school holiday stress. Welcome back, you're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, Fred has all the latest sports news and I'll be talking to Anne Winslow with some tips on surviving the school holidays. The final phase of a road improvement scheme in Beverley Town Centre started today. The £1 million programme will see resurfacing a number of parking bays on the Norwood estate. The work will be carried out in two sections, with half the spaces resurfaced from today until Wednesday and the second half due to be resurfaced from Thursday until next week. Resurfacing work has been completed in Beckside, North Balwithin and a stretch of the A164 north of Leconfield. North East Lincolnshire Council is warning people not to light barbecues or fires in parks and woodlands during the hot summer temperatures. The council is concerned there is a risk of fires spreading on dry grass. They say areas such as parks and grasslands can potentially act like a tinderbox when exposed to small sparks from a fire. A collection of vintage photographs salvaged from an antique shop in Skegness are on display in Denmark as part of a major arts festival. Local photographer John Byford discovered the pictures by chance back in the late 90s. They were taken by Alec Manning and show a wealth of the town's social life during the 1960s. John's exhibition, entitled Patience, is on display in Helsinge and aims to promote links between the two places. The pictures are on show as part of the Passage Festival, which runs until Saturday. We spoke to John back in March, who told us about the exhibition.
I'm a photographer myself and obviously have a passion for images in general. Back in 1999, many moons ago now, I was walking along one of the roads in Skegness and there was a junk shop there, and I happened to see a beautiful, beautiful black and white photograph in the window of a young lady, which I took a shine to. So in I went and inquired about this photograph, and was then informed that it was part of a house clearance with over 1,000 negatives. So obviously I was excited, interested, purchased a lot. When I got back home, I was holding some of these negatives up to the light and realising that it was quite an important collection of images. You know, it's a piece of social history. As a photographer myself, images mean nothing without a viewer, and I wanted to bring these pictures of his back to life and let people see just how wonderful that they were. So far, you know, the exhibition's been a huge success, and the people are looking at these images and taking time to view them as well. We live in this sort of Snapchat generation now, where images are sort of taken, almost deleted immediately. But these are wonderful images that you can stand in front of them, and just view for hours and just see something, see something beautiful.
I'm joined now by Anne Winslow to tell me how meditation can help parents handle the school holiday stress. Good evening and welcome to the programme. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
It's great to be here.
So the school holidays have started in earnest.
Yeah.
A very stressful time for parents.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me how meditation can help.
Yeah. Meditation, it helps calm and still you. It's really good to try and do some every morning and every evening. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm too busy, I can't fit it in. But the saying is, if you're too busy, you need to do twice as much. But it is people that do it really will sort of say it is amazing. It does have a big impact on your life.
And would we see big improvements and big benefits more or less straight away?
You just notice it can be cumulative, so the more you do it, but it just helps. It's like emptying out and just connecting back to the stillness within. There's different ways of doing it, and it's about finding what suits you, but it's so good for the body and the mind on all levels.
Okay. The healing white light, you also advocate that as a great way of meditating.
Yeah, the way that I think a meditation is really nice is just start by 3 deep breaths, just really slow and gentle, because it just really soothes and relaxes you. The breath is very powerful for meditation. And then you can just imagine like a healing white light's coming in through the top of your head, and you just guide it through all your body, just slowly and gently, just working all the way through your body. And some people say they use it to go to bed, but they never get all the way through the body. And it's known in meditation as a way of doing relaxation, but it's also believed that it has got like a healing quality to it as well, which is quite lovely.
Positive channels of energy.
Yeah.
Affirmations are also very important as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
How do they work?
Well, our mind is listening to our self-talk all the time, and we tend to do self-talk quite negative, and so the mind listens and he takes it as literal and tries to bring to us what we're sort of thinking. So we can start and think positive affirmations. So an affirmation is saying something in the positive, so you've already got it in the present tense. And a really good traditional old one is every day in every way all areas of my life are getting better, better and better. And you just repeat them over and over. Repeating a positive affirmation lifts you, it makes you feel better, and it also stops your mind running down the path of what's the worst case scenario that could happen.
And just not channeling, as we said there, the negative energy, which
Yes.
can sometimes
Yeah.
overconsume us more than positivity, can't it?
Yeah, you can go off down a path of great imagination of what's the worst that can happen, but really to make us feel good, it's good to go down the path of what's the best that can happen.
Excellent. Why is gratitude important?
Gratitude is great, especially at the end of the day, to sort of think about, oh, what am I grateful for today? Perhaps 5 things. It really makes you realise that there have been good things in your day, and it sends you to sleep in a positive way, thinking about positive things. And as you fall asleep, has an impact on the quality of sleep and how you wake up in the morning. So thinking, 5 things before you go to bed to be grateful for that day is really, really lovely way to go to bed at the end of the day.
And what you're saying there is that can probably help you have a better day the next day.
Yes, it'll impact your sleep, and it sets you off on a good start, because how you start your day off has a huge impact on the rest of the day. So starting the day off with positive affirmations and meditation to get yourself on a good start, and then at the end of the day finishing off with your meditation and your gratitude, it just really helps bring your life into balance.
Excellent. Some great tips there, and thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Now here's Fred with all the sports news.
Nigel Adkins says there's still work to be done after Hull City's pre-season draw at Barnsley on Saturday. Jared Bowen's 33rd minute strike ensured the spoils were shared at Oakwell, cancelling out Kenny Dougall's 3rd minute opener for the Tykes. The result brought a second successive stalemate for the Tigers following the 2-2 draw with Newcastle United on home soil in midweek, and Adkins accepts his side have room for improvement ahead of the start of the Championship campaign. A huge defensive effort from the Robins saw them hang on for a much-needed derby victory. A first-half brace from Craig Hall on his second debut for the club, along with one from Danny Tickle, helped the Red and Whites in a 16-0 lead at the break. Jordan Abdul got Hull on board 4 minutes into the second half before Josh Griffin and Mark Minicello went over in quick succession. Tickle added a penalty to edge Rovers back ahead going into the final quarter before another penalty goal late on sealed the Robins' win. Head coach Tim Sheens said the game was a huge effort but is really pleased with the team's efforts. Josh Griffin believes the Black and Whites were their own worst enemies as they went down to Hull Kingston Rovers on Saturday night. The Robins won their first derby in over 3 years as they ran out a 16-20 victory. Despite Griffin's being pleased to make his long-awaited return from injury, the result ultimately wasn't what he had hoped for. He said he was a bit rusty, but overall disappointed with the result. Next up for the Black and Whites is the start of the Super 8s. Head coach Lee Radford is keen his men will begin the campaign with a victory. Over the course of the next 7 rounds, the team will host 3 games and travel on the road for 4 away games as they battle to reach the Super League semi-finals and enter its final straight. Hull FC will host matches at the Cacom Stadium against Castleford Tigers, Wakeford Trinity and Catalan Dragons, 3 sides that the Black and Whites have already defeated on home turf this season. They will then travel to face St Helens, Wigan Warriors, Warrington Wolves and Huddersfield Giants away from home. Full details of the Super 8's fixture list will be released on Wednesday. Grimsby Town concluded their pre-season fixture programme with a comfortable victory against Gainsborough Trinity. JJ Hooper opened the scoring from close range after a Martin Wolford free kick had come back off the bar, before Harry Clifton made it 2-0 before the break. Substitute James Hessenthaler stretched the advantage to 3 goals, followed by a 4th by fellow sub Louise Robles. The first chance of the game came on 4 minutes after a good ball found Hooper on the right. Town were doing most of the attacking and they took the lead on 27 minutes after Vernon was brought down 25 yards out to stop a run through the middle. The full-time whistle meant the game finished in a 4-0 win for the Mariners. The League 2 season opens against Forest Green Rovers at Blundell Park on Saturday. Scunthorpe United completed their pre-season at home to Lincoln City on Saturday. Defender Charlie Goody admitted the game against the Imps was a difficult one, but one that the squad can learn from. He said it was a tough game and that the opposition was direct and very physical. New loan signing Cameron Borthwick Jackson played for the Irons at left-back against the Imps. The new season starts on Saturday with a trip to Coventry. And some cricket news now. Cleethorpes Cricket Club lost by 59 runs when they visited Wakefield Thorns on Saturday. Despite losing to the league leaders, who were dismissed for exactly 200, Cleethorpes reached 1419, which gained them 2 battling points and kept them out of the relegation zone. And that's all for the sport. Back to Luke in the studio.
Thanks very much, Fred. That's it for this Monday evening. My thanks to Anne and Charlotte for joining me on the sofa. As always, if you have a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages. Details on the screen as I speak. Email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472 31553. Write to us at the usual address, Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Grimsby, DN345BQ. We'll see you tomorrow.